Okay, so I need to create a new layer. I'm going to right click on my navigation palette, add new, and this is going to be my main floor framing, and hit OK. I need to go use my foundation layout as a reference for my information for my main floor. I haven't fully done these foundation walls. I've done my exterior walls, but there's going to be load bearing all up the middle of this foundation crawl space. So I want to do a new wall style. Go up to my wall tool preferences and select this interior 2x4 half inch. Doesn't matter which drywall size because I'm going to delete the drywall. Delete, delete. Then I need to say preferences of wall style. I'm just going to get rid of the gypsum board tag and hit OK. OK. And now I'm going to draw my walls up. And another one here. Okay, so when I'm calculating my joists, I need to figure out what the max span is of these joists. So these joists are going to run across, they're going to bear down on this exterior wall and on this pony wall. Okay, so the maximum span of this area is going to be from here to here. So I'm just going to use my line tool. I'm going to go in and I'm going to just do my line tool, and this is 13'4". So then I need to convert that into metric, right? So I'm going to have to put it in the same unit because right now it's in feet and inches, and you're not going to be able to convert, well, if you have a special calculator that does all that for you. So you either have to times 13/12 and get it all in inches, and then take those inches and use a converter and put it into metric. Use your span tables to then look and see how far you can go. And then with that, I'm going to figure out what the joists are. And then I'm going to show, so right now I'm drawing this arrow myself using my line tool. I've created 2 lines here. I'm going to use my mirror tool and duplicate it on the other end. It's already selected. I press the U key and I'm just going to do standard mode because I want it to mirror without duplicating, so that's flipped it on the other side. So I created this arrow all by myself, just using my line tool. I can then select it and group it. So this arrow is showing the direction of the joists, which way they span. I also need to show, for instance, where the joists travel to and from. So here, if the joists can span this distance, they can span a smaller distance. So I can use whatever spacing, sizing, extra bridging, strapping, or both I can use here to, and I can go continuously here. So this line, I also want to put arrows on either end. So in my attributes palette, I'm going to click and put these endpoints. A good way of showing that these are connected is by doing an oval. That's a really big oval. A really small one. Okay, so by doing that, I'm showing that they're connected, right? So if I'm looking at the plans, I'm going to and I'm only, if I'm looking closely here and I'm only seeing this information, that little oval is going to make me look at this other line and see where it goes, okay? So I'm just going to use my text box, and I'm going to say 2 by 10 floor joist at 16 inch on center, and this is going to be with bridging. And so I'm going to want to put the span in this note as well. So if someone was wanting to make sure, if they're like, oh, I want to make some modifications, if I put the span in, then they could easily do their calculations themselves without having to scale off these plans. So I'm also going to go span, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I'll do 4.16 meters. Okay, so this is what note I want to have. So I want to have the size of the joist, I want to have my spacing, I want to have, if it's with bridging, with strapping, or with both, I need to put that in because that's requirement for those calculations, and then I'm putting the span, okay? So if we didn't do anything further and we just put this information on our floor plans, then that is sufficient, right? Someone could read these plans and understand that over this space, we're putting floor joists, okay? But we're going to take it a bit further and do other methods. But and it's going to depend on like what's on your plans. If this is going to clutter your plans too much, you might want to put it on a floor framing plan, which we will do separate, because right now these are just notes on our foundation plan. Okay, so, and for instance, I'm just going to copy all these. I don't want to have to redraw them. I'm just going to click Option, drag them over. I should have snapped it, but then, so I don't have to redraw it. I can keep those things. Oops, I forgot my little oval. So now, obviously this distance is smaller because of this span. So I can go in, actually, I'll just select the group and I can scale it. This case, this bumps out that little bit more, and say we couldn't, with the specification, so with the bridging, or if we even bumped it up, if we couldn't do this just with bridging and strapping, and we needed to reduce the joist spacing, then what we would do would be to separate these areas. So I'm going to do here, and this line is only going to go, oops, I took my walls with me. So this note is for this area, and then what I'm going to do is this, and this line only goes to, say, for this instance. Now what I'm going to do is select all these, but not my walls. I'm going to click Option, drag this up to here, and for instance, this might only go to here. And then say, for instance, this needs to be smaller spacing, then I can change this note and go 12 inch on center. And then I'm going to select this again. Oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. So I need a note for every condition. So here I have the spacing is 12 inches on center. Here the span is 16 inches on center, and here it's 16 inches as well. So I don't need to, I just need to make sure those notes show that, and someone reading can see, okay, from this point to this point, these spans are, the joist spacing is different. Okay. So really, I'm almost done this floor plan, or these notes, these joist notes. I would just duplicate this and put this here, because obviously if it can span this distance, it can span this distance. So we want to make sure we're using the same height of floor joist. So there's multiple different ways of accommodating greater spans by adjusting our spacing or our strapping bridging, so that we can maintain that same, so we don't have to go up to a larger joist size. Okay, so once, and I kept these on the foundation plan. So, I wonder, I'm gonna select. Won't let me do that. Okay, so I have all these, and I'm going to send them to my new floor framing layer that I created. So now what I want to do, this is, like I was saying, that was the one way, this most simplest way of doing it. Now we're also going to do a floor framing plan. So I'm going to I need to be on my foundation layout, because I'm going to use my polygon tool and I'm going to use my outer boundary mode. So I can't just snap to these objects. I need them present on that layer, so I can go around and draw my polygon. So I'm going to offset this polygon. I want to offset in 1.5 inches because that's the thickness of our joist. So I'm creating, and I want to duplicate and offset. I'm hitting OK. That sets the value. Remember, I need to specify if I'm offsetting inside the shape or outside. So I'm going to click inside. Now I only want this little piece, so I want to select both, go up to my modify menu and clip surface, or Command Shift Option C. It clips the surface, but it maintains that clipping surface. So I'm just going to hit delete, and now I can see that I have a rim joist going all the way around the perimeter of my foundation wall. Okay?
So this is on your foundation plan?
Yes. Okay. Now what I can do though is I can send this, because I've used the boundaries of those walls, so I don't need to use my outer boundary mode. I can send this to my floor framing plan. I'm going to show snap others, but I'm going to only have my foundation plan visible. Okay, so now I want to draw my actual joists. So I'm going to use my double line polygon, 1.5 inch separation, create polygons, and hit OK. So the first one's going to be a bit different, where I'm going to draw it right on my rim joist, and I'm going to move this up 16 inches. And then I'm going to duplicate move, and I can do 16 inches, duplicate move, 16 inches. Okay, so I can do that. I'm actually, before I do that, I'd want to trim them because they go inside the rim joist, so I can just use my clip tool for that. Okay. Another thing we can do, because we're going to be doing a lot of them, I can do a duplicate array. So I have my object selected. I go up to edit and I go duplicate array. I want to do a linear array, but I can also do a rectangular array or a circular array. And with that, I'm going to specify my number of duplicates. So I'm just going to say an arbitrary value of 20 right now. I can make that modification. I can see that I can, while I'm duplicating this, I can set X, Y, and Z values. So even if we were doing like a circular array, we could go up, around, and make a spiral, right? So we could resize the duplicates, we can rotate the duplicates, and I want to retain my original object. I'm just going to hit OK. Oh, did I not specify a value? I got too far ahead. I'm like, there's 20 rectangles, they're all right there. Okay, edit, duplicate array. I want to put in a value here of 16 inches, and now I can hit OK, and voila. So I'm still going to need a few more. Now what actually happens here is these are going to only go to the edge of the bearing support. So I'll just clip those. And now I'm just going to take these joists and mirror them, or the equals. Oops. Oh, can I do it mid? I can. I'm going to mirror it over. Now they're not going to be, they are both going to go over the bearing support. So they can't be on top of each other because they're at the same elevation. So I need to move these all up 1.5 inches so they're staggered. And that's going to look like that.
No way.
Right.
Say what you're saying.
Okay. So I need to make some adjustments, but does everybody feel comfortable about doing this next step?